Welcome to Above Par. I'm your host, Kathy Hartwood. I show you how to take more of your talent to the golf course without practicing harder, taking more lessons, or buying new equipment. I show you how to end the frustration of underperforming so you can start playing to your potential. This is where you are going to learn how to think above par so you can play below par. Let's get to it. Hi, my golf friend. Welcome back to Above Par. I'm super happy that you are here and listening and using the information here to build your mental skills, maybe gain some awareness on ways that you're holding yourself back on the golf course that you can enjoy the game more, play more to your potential, and hopefully impact the rest of your life with what I share here. And that's a little bit about what I want to talk about today is how you do one thing, you do everything. And what that means is, to me, that you have one brain and you're going to process information. You're going to process emotions. You're going to think intentionally or not think intentionally. You either have control over your brain and manage it or you don't. You're going to have habits and patterns that you do off of the golf course that you are going to take to the golf course. You're not going to suddenly shift into a golf brain that does all these different things and then go off the golf course and act differently. So in other words, you're not going to go to the golf course and beat the crap out of yourself and talk super negative and then get off the course and be super positive. Like, why would you do that? It makes no sense. It would have to stick out so much to you, the contrast of it. And you already own the skill of being positive off the course. Why would you choose to be negative on the course? So no matter how much people like to argue with me that they're totally different on the golf course, or they're totally different off of the golf course, I am going to say that there are patterns and habits that you do with your brain that are going to show up in both areas. Because how you do one thing, you do everything. And what I want to do in this podcast, this episode today, is to share with you some examples because I want you to get super curious. I want you to have an epiphany. I want you to find something that, oh my gosh, I do that off the course and that's worth working on. That's worth shifting. That's worth me paying more attention to. Now, listen, you might notice things that I talk about and you get to keep them. You totally get to keep them. I'm not saying any of them are bad. I'm not saying you need to change. I'm just saying that it's useful to see the patterns and the habits that you have relative to managing your mind, relative to processing and dealing with emotions, and relative to habits. And then decide if you want to change or not, if you want to shift it. You want to start minimizing it, perhaps, for the benefit of your golf game and for the benefit of how you show up in your day-to-day life. And I'm going to offer that the results you create in both. Often, some of these things that I'm going to mention, some of these examples that I'm going to mention to you, we just think that's just the way it is, that there is no option to change. It's just who I am. And for sure, there are traits of our personality that we're not going to change. But the skill of dealing with your emotions and the skill of thinking differently and being curious and aware of the things that you can shift, that's totally up to you. Okay, so let me go through a couple examples of different things that show up for people off of the course and on the course because we have one brain, because how we do one thing, we do everything. And I'll go back to the example that I already noted, which was negative self-talk. This is a habit that we have a tendency to do because our brain is naturally a little bit negative. It has a tendency to look for all the different things that we're not doing so great. We compare ourselves to other people. It's always searching for danger. It can be the people that we hang around that are also negative, and we start creating that habit in ourselves. So negative self-talk is just a habit, but the chances are that you do it off the course and you also do it on the course. Trust. Hey, so many people tell me that all they want to do is stand over the golf ball and trust themselves. You either have trust or you don't have trust. It is not a golf course thing. It is something you develop and build off of the golf course. So likely off of the course, you don't trust yourself either. Or you might not trust other people. You either trust or you don't trust. So if that is something that you're struggling with on the golf course, I would definitely take a look at some of the ways that you don't trust either yourself or other people off of the course. People pleasing is a huge one. I promise you, if you're a people pleaser off the course, you are a people pleaser on the golf course, and that is going to affect how you show up on the course, how you feel, how you perform, and how you treat other people on the course. Perfectionism. basically a fear of making a mistake or fear of failing. There's an intolerance to making mistakes. And perfectionism is not meaning that you have to have all of your cans of soup lined up perfectly and facing forward and in alphabetical order. If anybody's has a collection of cans of soup, that is not what it means. It does not mean that you're not a perfectionist if your closet is a mess. Usually we are a perfectionist in areas that other people are going to see. If they're never going to go into your closet, you don't care that it's a mess. But if they walk into your house and they see that your living room's a mess, you probably care. It's not perfect. If during school you were intolerant of making anything than straight A's, if on the golf course you're intolerant of making mistakes, missing greens, making what seem to be stupid mistakes, that's where the perfectionist shows up. Golf and perfectionism, they're oil and water. They don't mix. I am a perfectionist. I know this. To stick my perfectionism in the closet all the time. Commitment is another one. If you have a hard time staying over the golf ball and being committed to the shot, you likely don't commit to yourself off of the course. You don't commit to other people off of the course. You're constantly giving yourself a pass. You set the alarm to go to the gym and you give yourself a pass. You don't keep your word to yourself. You're not your best CEO of managing yourself. Doubt or doubting, basically, sounds like, I don't know, I'm not sure, right? We can sit and wallow in this little bit of confusion. We don't ask really powerful questions in those moments. We're unsure. A little bit of that has to go with trusting ourselves to know what the answer is. But if we're constantly doubting things, we're going to do that on the course too. And that's going to show up in you swinging really hesitantly, steering, guiding the ball, second guessing yourself, decelerating. Worry is another one of those emotions that is indulgent. So if you worry off the course, you're going to worry on the course. You're going to worry about how you play. You're going to worry about the weather. You're going to worry about the conditions. You're going to worry if you get good bounces or if your swing is going to show up or who you're going to get paired with or what you're going to shoot, right? It's an indulgent emotion because nothing positive comes out of it. We take no action from worry. We just spin on in it like a hamster wheel. Anxiety. Listen, you might have a low level of anxiety you wake up with every day. It is going to show up on the golf course. No, I'm not saying that we have moments of anxiety when we're out playing golf, maybe more so. But your ability to manage that anxiety starts with how you manage it off the golf course. Because once you know that skill, then you can take it and deal with it when you're out there playing golf. Complaining. Have you played with that person who just nonstop complains about the conditions, where the beverage cart girl is, the lunch, the speed that lunch is getting delivered, the staff, the carts, like everything. The format of the tournament they complain about, right? Is complaining a problem? Do you like complaining? Maybe. Knock yourself out. Complain all you want. I just don't think complaining feels good. And I think it's a waste of energy, of your mental energy when you're out there playing golf. But you might sit there and go, yeah, I'm a complainer and I like to complain. You get to keep it. You get to keep it for sure. Impatience. Right? If you're an impatient person on the golf course, whether it's with pace of play, yourself, people in your group, you're likely impatient off the golf course. Is that one of those things that you're just going to say, that's just who I am? I'm an impatient person? I don't think so. I don't think that's a personality trait. That is you reframing the way that you look at things. Patience is an emotion, not a personality trait. And doesn't feel very good, in my opinion, too. And it affects your golf game when you're impatient. Short-tempered, you might have a short fuse. You might have a short fuse off the course. You might have a short fuse on the course. You might feel like you have a shorter fuse on the course than you do off the course, but I would get really curious on where it shows up. Traffic, certain situations, people. Like, that's just learning to manage your mind. That's learning to process emotions. That's breaking a habit. That's creating space around that so that you're not so quick to react to your emotions. Worry about what other people think. Right? Most of us have a tendency to do this, but the more you worry about what other people think about your score or how you look or how you hit it or how pretty your swing is or what they're thinking about you or what they're saying about you as you hit into 18 and they're sitting around the back of the green having a drink or lunch. Right? The more you're worried about what other people are thinking, the less present you are with your golf game. And you likely do that off the course too. And a lot of that has to deal with your thoughts about yourself. So it's worth looking at. The better your thoughts get about yourself, the less you worry about what other people think. Comparison. Are you comparing yourself to other people when you're out playing golf? Likely, if you're comparing yourself to other people on the golf course, you also compare yourself to people off of the course. Also, procrastination. Are you a procrastinator? Do you put things off? How's that showing up for you on the golf course? Do you let yourself get into a groove for 5 or 6 or 7 or 9 holes, and then you start kicking into gear on the last 9 holes? Do you procrastinate, focusing and trying and putting in the energy? Were you a procrastinator in school with tests or exams? Do you procrastinate at work or at home? Right? Procrastination is something that's going to show up on the golf course with your golf game and with your results. Some other ones could be controlling. You try and control your whole environment everywhere. Urgency, where you're in a hurry all the time, you're rushing. Maybe stubbornness. So you become intolerant of looking at things a different way. That could possibly help your golf game. So I share all of this with you to show you how some of the things that you're doing off the golf course are going to show up on the course. And this is bigger work. This is deeper work than just standing over the golf ball and having a good thought. This is also going to impact your experience when you go out and play golf. What the beauty of it is, this awareness can also help you impact the rest of your life if you choose to shift and pivot and change things and get curious about it and start working on it and noticing the habits and the patterns and start breaking them. It's totally possible. It's just mental management, but it starts with awareness. And that's the whole purpose of this podcast, was to bring awareness to you on how you have one brain and how you do one thing, you do everything, and see if you can start picking up some of those patterns. All right, my friends, if you want more help with this, or if you want to join any of my programs, head to kathyhartwood.com. Have a beautiful week, and I'll talk to you next Wednesday. Bye.